It's midday from Ghana, and we're coming to you from the headquarters of the AAU. My name is Ajiman Otradako, and joining me is in this week's headlines. In higher education, L'Oreal UNESCO awards £10,000 to 25 African PhD women for outstanding achievements. In our health story, maternal stress in pregnancy raises mental health risk in children.
In our discovery story for today, Kinchonkola Chonkonga visits Rio de Janeiro, a city in Brazil. And in our sport, former Ghanaian striker passes on at age 28. Please stay with us for more news after this short break. We will be right back.
You're welcome back in a momentous celebration of scientific achievements as the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Young Talent Awards honored 25 PhD candidates and 5 postdoctoral researchers from Sub-Saharan Africa. The ceremony held in Kasena, Botswana, acknowledges their impactful research with prestigious awards of £10,000 for PhD candidates and £15,000 for postdoctoral researchers.
Celebrating excellence in science, the L'Oreal UNESCO for Women in Science Young Talent Award honored 25 PhD candidates and 5 postgraduate and 5 postdoctoral researchers from Sub-Saharan Africa. The ceremony, held in Kasane, Botswana on November 9th, acknowledged their diverse research efforts with awards of €10,000 for PhD candidates and €15,000 for postdoctoral researchers. Constance Chikwaru, a Zimbabwean entomologist, is developing a biopesticide from local plant to combat the fall armyworm, while Aderonke Korede from Nigeria focuses on enhancing shell oiling with ginger and turmeric spices for a healthier cooking oil. Kenya researcher Faith Njuru is working on a paper strip test for early plant disease detection using camel serum molecules. Mozambican Felicidade Nikisi addresses the high infection burden of hepatitis B and HIV among health workers, and Nigerian postdoctoral research Ini Idaya navigates financial models with discontinuities in the Real Options framework. The winners emphasize the transformative power of their research, showcasing the impactful contributions of women across diverse scientific disciplines.
So back to higher education. The University of Cape Coast takes center stage celebrating academic excellence and groundbreaking research at the 8th Research Awards and Grant Ceremony held at the School of Graduate Studies Auditorium. The event, graced by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Johnson Nyako Buampon, spotlights the university's remarkable achievements and its influential position in Ghana and West Africa, ranking 7th across the entire continent.
The University of Cape Coast took center stage in a celebration of academic prowess and groundbreaking research during the 8th Research Awards and Grant Ceremony. Held at the School of Graduate Studies Auditorium, the event, graced by Vice-Chancellor Professor Johnson Nyako Buampon, highlighted the institution's remarkable achievements and its position as a leading university in Ghana and West Africa, ranking 7th across the entire continent.
The University of Cape Coast has consistently increased its quality and innovative research output and complementary citations in the Scopus database over the past decade. Thus, it is not surprising that our university has been duly ranked as the first in Ghana and West Africa for 3 consecutive times by the prestigious Times Higher Education World University Ranking.
Under the theme Artificial Intelligence for Innovative Research and Sustainable Development, the ceremony featured a compelling keynote address by Professor Peter Amwaku-Yirechi from the Department of Mathematics at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Professor Urenchi dispelled misconceptions about AI, emphasizing its historical integration into higher-level research across Africa.
The ninth one is to build resilient infrastructure to promote sustainable and inclusive industrialization and foster innovation. It's a mouthful, I get it. Yes. And this one is what universities, for example, like yours, would have to be targeting. If you don't put up the correct infrastructure, this AI thing, you will not be part of it.
He underscored the crucial role of AI in achieving sustainable development goals, with a particular focus on Goal 9, urging Ghanaian universities to prioritize infrastructure and innovation. The ceremony culminated in the acknowledgement of outstanding researchers across various faculties, recognizing their impactful contributions to the university's research landscape. Professor David Ted Doku, Director of the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Consultancy, Drake, expressed gratitude for the university's leadership support and pledged to continue fostering an environment that encourages and rewards impactful research.
10 years of promoting research, 10 years of developing policy to guide research, and we've been fortunate, especially me as the fourth director of this important directorate. Many of us, and in fact all of us, have worked so hard to establish this directorate and to work and sustain it.
The 8th Research Awards and Grant Ceremony serves as a testament to the University of Cape Coast's commitment to advancing research, innovation, and sustainable development in the ever-evolving academic landscape.
And that was indeed knowledge-driven at UCC. And to look at how important Goal 9 plays a key role in ensuring that all the SDGs are achieved, Professor Ato Ama, who is currently the Director of Research and Planning here at the AAU, also made some inputs into this point, and he made some very great discussions comparing both Professor Urenchi's comments and what he thinks can be done with Goal 9 as well as other goals.
Goal 9 is about innovation, and innovation is central to the mandate of universities. We know that we have teaching, we have research, and then outreach. All the three domains, teaching, research, and outreach, has some element of innovation. And when it comes to particular focus on the SDGs, innovation is very, very important, because you can have innovations in healthcare, innovations in environmental systems, functions that you write to solve problems. So he was coming from that particular ambit. But there are several ways of looking at it. You can look at it from the mathematical perspective, as Prof. Yenche did, and you can also look at it from various domains. An agricultural scientist, an engineer, or a historian may look at it from a different perspective. Now, another person may frame this issue and say that partnership is actually at the core of the attainment of the SDGs, because if you take each of the 16 SDGs minus partnerships, each element requires partnerships to succeed. Multi-stakeholder partnerships, very, very important. Multi-stakeholder platforms, very, very important. And look at it from a multidisciplinary perspective, an interdisciplinary perspective, and a transdisciplinary perspective. And if you look at it across these domains, you will look at it from different angles from what has already been said.
Okay.
There seems to be some crossroads right here with regards to what actually plays a key role in this story. You know, we heard from Professor Urenchi, who is saying that Goal 9 is the pivot to achieving all the other goals. And we heard Professor Thomas saying that Goal 17 is actually also a very key part of achieving everything. What do you stand, where do you stand basically in this whole story?
First of all, I won't declare any stance. I believe they are all right, because from Professor Urenchi's assertion, it underscores the pivotal nature of Goal 9, which centers on building resilience, infrastructure, and promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization for fostering innovation. Because, let me say, I believe that by involving in infrastructure and innovation, African universities can lay down some groundworks for us to be able to fix or get solutions to some of our challenges that we face in our community, and even some challenges that come with the remaining SDGs. For instance, I also believe that in advancements of technology and innovation, it can accelerate a lot of things, a lot of progress in our SDG Goal 2, which talks about zero hunger.
Yeah.
And this can be achieved through improved agricultural practices. When our technology is improved, there is an improvement also in our agricultural practices. And also in the SDG Goal 9 itself, it will help in enhancing research and development. And coming down, I would say that additionally, there was an emphasis, as you said, on responsible consumption and production, which is on SDG Goal 12 by Professor Ama.
Yeah.
And he also spoke about partnership for the SDG Goal 17, which can be boosted through innovation-driven approaches. But in essence, or let me say in summary, I would say that Professor Yerenchi's suggests that a strategic focus on SDG Goal 9 serves as an effect, not a bad effect though, but a positive influence on accelerating progress in the entire spectrum of our SDG goals.
That's also a very interesting outlook you brought over here, and the role of AI in trying to execute all these is very important. And one would say that how can we use AI, bend it, manipulate it, or perhaps integrate it in all these grids to help us achieve an optimal level of the SDG? And what comes to mind in terms of consumption of energy, production, infrastructure, partnership? What do you think AI can do in trying to make all these achievable?
I think, first of all, artificial intelligence has come to stay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's here to help us improve upon our work, improve our technology. And I think I said something about, improving our technology and all that could bring an enhancement in our SDGs. So I think there is a lot that AI will do, helping our, the SDGs and helping our society at large when we take all these into consideration.
Sure, we can't wait to have the AI effect fully utilized in our country and grow our economy and also help us achieve the SDG soon.
So in our health story, the American Psychology Association has found out that children whose mothers are highly stressed, anxious, or depressed during pregnancy may be at high risk for mental health and behavioral issues during their childhood and teen years.
Children whose mothers are highly stressed, anxious, and depressed during pregnancy may be at higher risk of mental health and behavior issues during their childhood and teen years, according to research published by the American Psychological Association. Study author Dr. Irene Thang of California State University Dominguez Hills said the research suggests that psychological distress during the pregnancy period has a small but persistent effect on children's risk for aggressive, disinhibited, and impulsive behaviors. The research was published in the journal Psychological Bulletin. It found that even after controlling postnatal psychological distress during pregnancy in particular increased children's risk of developing externalizing problems. The effect held true regardless of whether the children were boys or girls, and it held true for children in early childhood, ages 2 to 5, middle childhood, 6 to 12, and adolescents, 13 to 18, though the effect was strongest in early childhood.
Please stay with us for Discovery News after this short break. We'll be right back.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor, or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning, and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU Elearn Africa LMS.
Welcome back from the break, and in our discovery story, Kinchongolola Chongonga Ikwikwi VI of Belundo Kingdom in Angola visited a community descended from itself escaped slave on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
King Chongolola Chongoga Ikwikwi IV of the Bailongan Kingdom in Angola visited a community descended from self-escaped slaves on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. The residents of Quilombo do Camorim, the oldest Quilombo in the area, warmly welcomed the king through dancing and chanting. The community, consisting of 100 people, proudly preserves their traditional religion, medicinal plants, and an archaeological sites. The visit of the king brought a sense of historical pride and unity, reminding them of their regal heritage and strengthening their daily struggles and fights for recognition. During his trip to Brazil, King Ikwikwi IV has been meeting with the Angolan diaspora. His visit to the Valongo Wharf, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where millions of African slaves made landfall, was particularly significant. Over a third of captured Africans arrived in Brazil during the transatlantic slave trade. The Valongo Wharf serves as an important physical reminder of this history. Although slavery was abolished in Brazil in 1888, it took another century for the rights of formerly enslaved communities to be recognized in the Constitution. Today, there are approximately 1.3 million people living in quilombos across Brazil. The king's visits to Quilombo do Comorim and other significant locations symbolized the powerful affirmation of African heritage and provided hope for unity among the people. The community members found strength in the king's acknowledgement that they were not slaves, but descendants of kings and queens. The presence of the king heightened their sense of identity and unity, inspiring them to continue their everyday struggle for recognition and equality in society.
Stay tuned for sports and entertainment. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Sports and Entertainment segment. My name is Mamiko Tuakwanyame, and in our sports news, former Guinean international footballer Raphael Dramina has passed on following a cardiac arrest on November 11, 2023. After undergoing a series of surgeries in 2020, he collapsed during a football match with club opponent Partizani Tirana.
Former Ghanaian striker Raphael Dramina has tragically passed away at the age of 28 after suffering a heart attack on the pitch during a match in Albania. The Ghanaian star was the leading scorer in the Albanian league this season, netting 9 goals for his club, Ignatia. He had represented his country on 9 occasions and was once considered one of Ghana's most promising young talents. Dramina had experienced several cardiac issues throughout his career, including a failed medical in 2017 when he was set to join Premier League side Brighton and Hove Albion. He also collapsed on the pitch during an Austrian League match in 2021. Despite these setbacks, Dramina underwent a heart operation in 2020 and had an automatic defibrillator inserted to enable him to continue playing. He subsequently played in Denmark, Australia and Switzerland before joining Ignatia earlier this year. His sudden death has sent shockwaves through the football community, and the Albanian Football Federation has postponed all games scheduled in the country this week.
In our entertainment news, the African film industry is on the rise, with experts calling for collaboration and resource sharing to harness its full potential. At the recent Africa Cinema Summit in Accra, Ghana, attendees discussed how to produce films that resonate with global audience and contribute to the continent's economic development.
African filmmaking is on the rise, and the continent's rich cultural tapestry is providing a wealth of inspiration for filmmakers. At the inaugural African Cinema Summit in Accra, Ghana, industry experts gathered to discuss how to harness the power of African cinema to tell stories that resonate with global audiences. The summit emphasized the need for collaboration and resource sharing among African filmmakers. CEO of Ghana's National Film Authority, Juliet Ya Asantua Asante, urged local filmmakers to think beyond their borders and produce films that can travel the world. She also highlighted the importance of telling stories that are authentic and of high quality. The African film industry has the potential to generate $20 billion annually and create 20 million jobs. President Akufo-Addo of Ghana recognized the great influence of an empowered film industry as a catalyst for sustainable development across African nations. He believes that with the right skills and resources, Africa can produce films that will enrich the global community.
That is all for sport and entertainment news. My name is Mamiko Tuakwanyame. Up next is business news with Jemima.
Job in higher education institution on the African continent? There is no need to go looking. The Africa Education Jobs Board will deliver available jobs to you via our platform. To start your search, visit our website. On our website, you will find variety of job postings classified by the sectors and professions they belong to. There are sections devoted to variety of career-related materials, as well as information on African countries. All information you require based on the job description and requirements are accessible on the site. If you are looking for a job in higher education on the continent, use our dedicated portal www.africa.edujobs.com. For job market updates, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AF Jobs Board.
In business, Kenya has rescued a $389 million loan from the International Monetary Fund $IMF to help address the liquidity problems and economic difficulties. The loan will provide Kenya with immediate access to $682 million to support its economic recovery effort. However, the country faces significant challenges, including high inflation, a rising debt burden, a public dissatisfaction with the government's austerity measures.
Kenya has secured a $938 million loan from the International Monetary Fund (IMF) to help address its liquidity problems and economic difficulties stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and a historic drought in the Horn of Africa. The loan agreement, which is subject to approval by the IMF's Executive Board in January, will provide Kenya with immediate access to $682 million to support its economic recovery efforts. Kenya's economy has shown some resilience, with real GDP growth of 5.4% in the first half of 2023, mainly due to a solid recovery in the agricultural sector. However, the country faces significant challenges, including high inflation, a rising debt burden, and a public dissatisfaction with the government's austerity measures. The IMF noted that Kenya's public debt stands at over 10,100 billion shillings at the end of June, representing around 2/3 of gross domestic product. The country is under pressure to repay a large Eurobond maturing in June 2024. The IMF expressed concern about the rising cost of servicing Kenya's public debt, particularly to China, due to the collapse of the currency. The Kenyan government has prepared a budget that includes numerous new taxes to reduce its debt burden, but that has led to the public dissatisfaction and protests.
In our international bid, in a major development, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has announced a significant reduction in the number of migrants illegally crossing into the UK from Europe. Sunak attributed this success to the government's efforts to return migrants to their home countries. He reiterated his commitment to revive the government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda despite legal challenges.
British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced on Friday that the number of migrants illegally crossing into the UK from Europe has dropped by a third. He credited this success to the government's effort to return migrants to their home country. Sunak also reiterated his determination to revive the government's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, despite the UK Supreme Court's ruling that the plan is unlawful. He said he is negotiating a treaty with Rwanda to close loopholes in the plan and that he will work night and day to make it happen. Sunak's comments came as the UK and other European countries grapple with how to deal with the influx of migrants seeking refuge from war, violence, and climate change. Sunak has made Stop the Boat one of his key pledges ahead of next year's national election.
Now, thank you for staying with us, and let's take a quick recap of our headlines.
In our higher education story, L'Oreal UNESCO awards £10,000 to 25 African PhD women for outstanding achievements. In our health story, maternal stress in pregnancy raises maternal health risk in children.
In our discovery story, King Chonkanga's royal visits to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And in our sports, former Ghanaian striker passes on at age 28.
So thank you for staying with us on the Midweek News on AAU TV. My name is Ajiman Ochidako.
And I am Jimai Madaladam Duce.
Get interactive on our platform social media, AAU TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Have a nice day and bye.